Hello everyone, this is Fantastic Worlds. Welcome you back to Lovecraft Country and Cultist Simulator, the Exile happy ending. Yeah, the epilogue after we killed the foe. We're just going to be wandering around magical Europe and the colonies in order to be able to try to find a purpose for our existence, as well as trying to found the anti-reckoner Avengers here. With our companions, see how many we can actually get. Can't get a full set because we lost the lantern one. Unfortunately was slain by our father, but we did avenge her and get her a really good grave. Any case, now I came into Istanbul, and Istanbul being the intersection of the colonized Europe and Middle East. Yeah, it's kind of a strange place. 7 hills, 3 names, 2 continents. And by the way, the 7 hills means that technically the Book of Revelations could be referring to Istanbul and not Rome, but we all know it's Rome if you actually know the context. But it's kind of interesting. It might be at the end of the world to come in Istanbul. Oof. Hang on. 2 continents and 100,000 cats. Yeah, the city is overrun with cats, and they're all cared for by the population to this day. In fact, go check on the video online sometimes. Like, you'll find a whole bunch of cat videos of people just taking care of them. And a sudden number of sudden dazzle golden horn. You also notice we got like $11 that we should probably be picking up. So first things first. Let's take advantage of my preparations. Now, one of the things I'm thinking about doing with the connections radical here is that we've already been, caused an uprising, and London's probably still burning as we speak. But you can actually do the opposite. You can, if you choose to, betray an uprising. Put in winter. You know, it says 2 winter here. You'll need 12 winter total for it, and well, we have to grab the city first. And we probably, just out of habit, should, find out where we're landing next. And, always best to have a place you want to go. And we've also, like I pointed out before, have 5 penitents, and I don't think we're going to be able to get that one this time around, but yeah. And one of the reasons why, what is the reason that you'd want to, for example, betray an uprising? It's fairly simple. You ingratiate yourselves with the local establishment, and in the game, that translates to getting a connection ruler card, which you've never actually done, because if you try to get them conventionally, it costs you a whole freaking decade. And the cheapest way you can do it, yes, let's say it together, you can betray an uprising. Basically get an audience with the king, and you can, get your favor for, knocking down the disadvantage and helping propping up the elite. Yeah, we're going to side with the man this time. Yes. Just remember, all of you out there with radical ambitions, assume that you have a federal informant in every chat, online, any meeting whatsoever, because that is what they do. The FBI specializes in informants in the United States, and in other countries, I'm fairly certain that they have their own intelligence organizations with infiltrating groups. And, of course, online, just assume that everyone's watching you. Anyways, Triana. Before all this went bad, I was negotiating a sale of life with one of President Zogo's people in Tirana. I still have her address. I think you get a connection nobles connection in this one too. But what we're going to do is grab the connections radicals. We're going to take, remember also when we walked in here, defiance and direction. You see, if you look at direction, it says you either choose forge or winter. If you choose forge, you assist an uprising. If you choose winter, you betray an uprising. Now, I'm actually want to see at least one of the descriptions, so we're going to only put in 2 winter to start with. So, it has been a century of revolutions, and it's hardly begun. I'll be saving lives. Yes, of course you will. And the profit by it is absolutely not a consideration, right? Anyways, let's get that started. We have the youth to betray. There's always usually the youth that wants to overthrow. Okay, so, betrayal. Challenges will occur. Oh, we got a vitality for it. Yay, I think. Even if challenges occur, your operation is running, can match their aspect cards. Okay, so we're going to need the first time a 4 winter. And it's not really giving us much here. But what we're going to do, since we've got this dude here, this 10, yeah, we'll let it zip out for a bit here. Let's get this one cleared. Because normally I'd be stacking cards in, but we got so much winter, it's ridiculous. All right. Challenge, betraying an uprising, persuasion or murder. Now, persuasion would mean we're doing heart. We're trying to convince people not to do the murder thing, and we could theoretically do that, but let's be real here. Yeah, we're going to cause issues. All right, the scar. Yeah, we'll put in he's going to be the Dominicus will be the one doing the betrayal. We're going to have him infiltrate the group and report, which is, you know, how informants work. You find there's always, see, betray uprisings require people, so therefore you can always slide in an agent because vetting processes for that is kind of a little thin. I can't even go shopping while we're doing this. How ignoring. I'll tell you what we do. Let's just get the cash going ahead of us here. We all know that can take freaking forever. So subtlety basically means, yeah, we're just telling people, yeah, you don't. Subtlety is like we get all the information, we turn it in, whereas if we do it the hard way, we're like convincing them that they'll be doing more harm than good. So that would be like the Democrat way of doing things. Because the Democrats have existed within this country for decades, essentially blocking any form of reform by saying it's not the term yet. In fact, if you ever check out Martin Luther King Jr.'s letter from Birmingham jail, he will go into the fact that he considered the liberals to be more of an issue for him than the conservatives. Because at least the conservatives were open outright with what they wanted. They wanted him gone. And his people, you know, remaining second-class citizens. But the liberals pretended they were on their side. Betrayal of local radicals is progressing. You can trust me. If you can say that, don't trust them. Like, at all. That will just take care of it from this point forward. In the meantime, we can concentrate on shipping our ill-gotten wealth. Yeah, we're not the scrappy rebels anymore, guys. We might have killed the manager. We might have gone in and decided to take over the family business because, you know, we don't want to run an organization of killers that really aren't very nice people. So we're just going to apparently be wealthy, and I guess we're going to be liberals. Kind of wealthy and pretending to be of the people while we enjoy our wealth, you know? Oh, gods, I'm not bitter. Let's get this fast forward going. I completely forgot about that. Okay, so yeah. You can trust me. Alright. Patience. You need a lot of patience. You can... The thing is, if you really want to be able to catch an infiltrator from the government, it's... One of the things that's going to desperately, always desperately gives them away is the fact that they have drilled into their heads they have to be hygienic. This is why they will have the short cropped hair. They will have the washing. They will talk. They will have their shoulders back and they will talk. Now that's, of course, if they do it straight from the government. Most of the time they just pay your friends to inform on them. Majority way of doing that is they'll trump up a charge, say they're going to throw them in jail forever, but if they work with them, what they can do is they can cut them a deal, you know, give them a reduced sentence. You'll find them at this address. I like it. Cut them at this deal and saying, you know, we can make an exception for you, reduced sentence, maybe that, or, you know, work with us, and then they got them on the hook forever. And then they'll pay them, and once they take the cash, they're kind of complicit in the whole thing anyways. So what you end up with is a stooge. I mean, right now, if you are participating in any sort of thing that your government doesn't want to, every time you talk to somebody online or in Uprising Trade, our plans are laid, but today they won't end as any as expected. Yep. Basically, we catch them red-handed with all their weapons and such. So there's actually no way of saying that they weren't guilty. And that's the thing. Unfortunate, but you know how this works. But yeah, I remember actually, oh god, I've forgotten. There was a black leader once who was betrayed by one of his people who this exactly happened to. It was in the 1960s in Chicago, in which they gave him a gas station as a reward. And the thing was, they actually interviewed the guy because they'd been laid out, because the statute of limitations on the records have been done so, and he was like, history will vindicate me or not, and he self-terminated shortly afterwards, being confronted by the results of what he did. Orders maintained, and the authorities are grateful. Yeah. Connection ruler. A mutually beneficial arrangement with someone of real power. Basically, I'm not exactly sure they're being instable, but, you know, you come up with it. It's probably British authority, but they are 10 knock, 10 grail, 10 edge. Yeah, this is one of the most powerful connection. This is the most powerful connection you have, one of the most powerful cards in the game. Obscurity and cash, basically. Gods. Yeah, we got even more cash. But this is what we're going to do. Now, we can employ a year. What this does, by the way, there you go. It's accept patronage. There's nothing a ruler wants more than more life, and there's no one who pays better. I'll need to make sure my patron doesn't understand my methods, so they make an idea. Essentially what we're doing is, remember, we can use a stolen ear, which is essentially a consolidated form of life force, in order to be able to give somebody life or to absorb injuries. But here what we're doing with this thing is that we are going to be doing it to a king. Now, if you remember the royal story of Rasputin, that he supposedly was a mystic, and the reason he was the Romanov? Oh God, Romanov, I think. Pronunciation's terrible. A family, the last Tsar, as it were, was that he could heal the boy's injuries. Now, I have seen so many, by magic touch, because he was holy man, supposedly. Now, I have seen so many ways people spin this in so many different ways in fiction. It's ridiculous. Everything from him being an actual man of God with healing powers, a complete charlatan, or a vampire in one case, who had essentially ghouled the sun. If you actually, speaking of that, in World of Darkness, Rasputin is technically all of the types of supernaturals, from mage to werewolf to vampires, because the White Wolf at the time, like messing with people, at least in that way. They mess with people completely different in ways that I'm not very fond of. Anyways, so let's get this knocked out. Let's accept some patronage, and basically we're going to be doing some faith healing on the king or governor, lord, or whatever. Patronage. Now, we've consumed that in order to do so. The thing is, we are going to obviously need a good doctor, don't you think? Well, actually, what I'll do is that, since I'm going to see what the flavor text is first before I drop them on, because we can easily get a dozen heart. There we go. Patronage, discreet or dramatic. Heart makes it subtlety, forge knock. The thing is that we could use lantern. Basically, we're being scientific about the damn thing, but I don't have lantern worth a damn. So, yeah, subtlety. So we'll get even more obscurity. God, I must have, like, completely be invisible by this point. Meanwhile, we can at least, you know... Oh, there's... Yeah, we can actually... Hold on. Let's get Tiriana, get that going, because we're going to have even more cash. There you go. Grab Istanbul and just go shopping, damn it. It's been a while. Now, that's the thing about this, is I would like it in the game if you could actually get targeted by the loved ones and compatriots, the people we just betrayed. But odds are they don't even know that we're doing it. Because a lot of times they'll arrest the informant as well as everyone else. There's no way of telling that. And they'll be in prison for a bit. And you know that if you keep them in prison long enough... Oh, holy man. Do we want to... I don't want to make another church. There we go. Okay, so we've got... We've got to throw in this guitar. Get in there. Get in there. There you go. That'll give us 14, which will be enough for the thing. So we just have our magic guitar making him feel better. You know, in this game, that is actually a legitimate way to heal. The drum ceasing, which is the personification of health, of life force itself, is associated with music. Specifically the drum, but anything that holds a beat, including a strummed instrument that is magical, could probably also do it. Oh, Dominikas, how you doing? Alright, right. I can actually, I think, upgrade him to 11 winter. Damn, he's strong. That gives a reason he's my, that. Yes, I'm expected. Basically, you walk in just to get past that level of security, as it were. Yeah, all these bodyguards are designed to keep the ruffians, aka the common folk, away from them. Because we know that they don't... Rulers... There's one thing most rulers dislike entirely. It's the people they rule over. It's the reason they have all these levels of separation, as it were. Okay. We'll throw Dominguez into the communication verb over there in order to be able to upgrade him. There you go. I will throw in cash later again. There you go. Potential realized. There you go. Import license. I really don't want to get back into business, thanks. What do you do when you're a demigod immortal? Demigod immortal assassin who's retired. Ugh. Hold on a second. Operation continues. Yes, I'm expected. Yes. In some cases, it has been said that on the streets, you are who you know. He's also an intelligent in the government, too. There's really not much difference between a cartel and a government. Taxes, protection money, same thing. Alright, hold on. My works are written in water subtlety. Alright. You worked? Okay. Alright, cool. Obscurity and cash. Well, we didn't actually need the cash. I was just kind of wanting to do it. We could also recharge this if we really wanted to. Also, reprovisioning. Oh, well, okay. Awesome. We could use another decade to reactivate that, but why would I want to do that? I have experience is the best spice. There you go. That's a good way of looking at things. Alright. Cats, love it. All those cats wandering around Istanbul who could actually use follow. And if we used a little bit of lantern, the height would actually do it. It would take us back to the Shrine of the Velvet. Just because we can do that every time I come across cats. In any case, we really have to consider what we're going to be doing Tirana. What I'm going to do, I'm thinking at, since I have to pause the game anyways when we start leaving, because it's going to take forever for us to pack, Misty Nook. Unremarkable location, it's sometimes easier to stumble across at night. Alright, so... Right, visit here. Purpose. Now, Pentiment would give us dawn, I think. If you do nothing, lore. This would actually offer a secret. This will downgrade your level and give you obscurity and tranquility. I'm good. We'll just rest for a while. We're not going to offer anything. Just, you know, chill with the vibe. There you go, do what you got. One more, and then we'll probably leave. Oh no, I've been detected. I don't really want to own a discreet office, but honestly, why not? You can't get a better place than this. I'm disappointed. Yay, I will own my own little office in Istanbul somewhere. I have absolutely no doubt, by the way, that it will in fact be completely and utterly, this one's not. Opportunity and distraction. Alright. It will be probably firebombed by members of the, whatever uprising we just happened to overcome there for a while. Tranquility. Alright. We're chill. Anyways, after we get the last of the money sent, we'll probably pop over and say hi over to Triana. I don't actually think it's a lot there. Not a lot. We could, again, make another pleasure cult since it's got flower maker, but, yeah. Let's head out. Alright, and yeah, by the way, we can't afford the ticket out. Alright, catch you on the other side. Okay, here we are. Departure. My friend Zoigst friend shakes my hermit. I'll give you an introduction, she says, if you have years to win his favor. Okay. So, there we go. So yes, Triana. Flower throng Tirana, where Zogist soldiers crowd the cafes with drunken laughter, where the flower maker hums his dreamy songs in the bee droning shadows. That's why you can get this. Okay, first things first, of course, let's drop off and make sure that we get first, yeah, the cash we have here. Then we will talk about what we can get here. All right, yep, cash. Then we'll get our exit. All right. Let's see. I did check, by the way. I don't think there's anything. Yep, there's only... You can only buy a pistol here. That's about it. And you can get some real estate. I suppose we could buy another mansion if we really wanted to. We can try to see if we can get... Oh, now I gotta go cross country. Oh, that's gonna suck. Yeah. So I guess... And we can't even bring our cash aside. So, yeah, the opportunity for the connection for the ruler. We don't actually need that. Not much to do here. Like I said, profane weapon, we've already got that. So I guess we're just gonna have to head out to the countryside. Well, at least we don't have to spend any money to do it. So I guess we just leave. Alright, so let's see if we can go next, shall we? Gonna be kind of random. And we're back. So yeah, we're in the middle of nowhere now. Farewell. And I've arrived in absolutely nowhere. Alright. First things first, collect it all. Now, we can't do anything with cross country. Like, it doesn't even let you reconnoiter. So, let's head out again. Tend to make contact with someone somewhere. God. I like the fact that we're, even after you win the game and you're not running from anything, technically you're still desperately trying to find somebody to give you a place to stay. You're basically a demigod couch surfing. And it also costs us a wound, but again, that's not really an issue. Alright. Yazil the Five-Goer took refuge from the Reckoners in Tilfus long ago. He owes me that may not have welcomed my visit. Alright, there's the wound. There's Tilfus. Alright, so we'll head out again. Apparently we gotta pay to get out of the middle of nowhere. Yeah, that's generally how it works. So I will see you on the other end of this one. And we are back. Eerie gramophone music drifts from Vizal's open window as I knock on his door. Okay, so what do we got? Okay, so I remember this guy, Vasil the Five-Goer, a smoothly handsome man whose unhuman ancestry is not apparent unless you know how to look for his abnormally flexible fingers or wonder why his nose tends to run. Yeah. He is, I believe, a quarter, entity. Oh God, yes, what was it? Yeah, the Red Prophet. Yeah, the thing is about the Red Prophet, the Prophet. The obscure, I don't know, you say the Grail-based spirit, is that, yeah, it's a shapeshifter, and you can actually use it to seduce people. So yes, it can shapeshift into preferred lovers, and apparently they can have kids, because my guess, it was the woman who was the human in this regard, regarding his grandmother, because the offspring will take the shape of the female, because that's obviously where they're gestating, but take on traits of the man. So the thing is that Vasil's father, is probably mother, was half prophet and Red Prophet. What they called? God, it's been so long since this game. Anyways, but yeah, give me 1 second. God, it's driving me nuts that I cannot actually remember. Raw Prophet, not Red Prophet. Thank you. The Raw Prophet, the creature of pure chaos, basically unformed flesh, and can take any form, and yes, people will summon it for the purposes of, well, copulation, as it were. And apparently, one woman did that had kept the kid. The kid became a half-human, and now we're dealing with a quarter-human, who is suggested due to his Grail ancestry, in fact, a sex worker. But let's get back to that one of my favorite missions, basically a rescue mission. A Five-Goer. Now, I don't know if there's any Five-Goers that have been actually covered in things like the Book of Hours, but I'm pretty sure Traveling at Night's going to include some information about really new stuff. Vasil shakes my hand warmly. With that boneless, because he doesn't actually have bones, he's formed protoplasm, but here's some script I remember so well. Of course I owe you, he tells me, but I owe you someone else more. It's my great-grandmother. He's an 8th Raw Prophet. Is here in the city in the keeping of very unsympathetic men. If you and I can address that, I'll be free to come with you. Now, the Yezria Tigress. For 50 years, a secret Yezhva has taught the 4 traditions of Bel Ilal. Ilal? Is that the Demon King we're talking about? The imprisonment of spirits, the expulsion of monsters, the conclusion of tenacious curses, and the sealing of troublesome portals. We have to find a breach at the rabbis, and spirits and students may give us a difficulty. The Undergoer itself may need to be subdued. The Undergoer being the Raw Prophet. Now, I actually talked about this in the previous run, but this is what's happening. In earlier Judaic lore, the concept of the primordial darkness is the dark feminine. It was Adam who conquered it, so to speak. And I mean conquered it in the sexual manner. Yeah, that's kind of what they're replaying with these rituals, is they will have somebody representing Adam bring the creature in, and yeah, I'm not going to describe the blow by. Most of you can probably get what I'm talking about, but it's pretty grody. It's a concept that actually existed in some obscure concepts like that. I don't know if anybody actually did something like this, but the concept was by doing so, they were showing themselves to be dominant over chaos, which is why they allow them to imprison spirits, expel monsters, seal curses, and all that. Essentially, that all relies on chaos. It comes from the unformed primordial masses. In other words, the things that we think of as monsters are often things from alien realities or just the void itself entering our world, and usually they're adapted to environments that are far more hostile and they are predatory nature, so they don't do work well with humans. The odd ones that tend, well, those usually tend to be the protagonist or side characters in stories like this, in which you can have, the vampire with a soul if you're Buffy, or you can have the shape-shifting demon who just, kind of just wants to get along with everyone. Yeah, so that's where we are right now. Anyways, this should be easy enough. Okay, resources. Since we have to find something, I'm gonna guess that I'm gonna guess we can actually just crash this one pretty easily. Let's begin a caper. Alright. Meanwhile, are we gonna go shopping? Probably. And we probably should figure out where the heck we're going after this, because, we're going to burn down a sacred tradition. So, yeah, I can see that going well. Anyways, let's go deal with a 1,000-year-old conspiracy overnight, shall we? Sometimes you just need to be a little more violent. Okay, so we need knock. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have, pause for a second there, our old friend Grigori call up his contacts and see what we can do. Now, you can actually, as I find it hilarious, you can actually use cash for this sort of thing. You're essentially bribing people for it, but you need to use 2 pieces of cash, so I would have had to start with it. But in any case, yeah, we'll start with him, and we'll see what we're going to do next. Give me a second here. I want to make sure I've got this one right. Give me a second. Yeah, we're going to... Ooh, we need lantern or moth to finish this one. Moth, yeah, it doesn't glow, unfortunately. Moth may be an issue, so I might have spoken too soon about getting this done. Moth or lantern, I mean, cutting them up is not really going to be an issue. Lantern is 8, so, yeah. Got 8 lantern here, we need 4 more. Let's see the best way of handling that. Credentials, blade, yeah, these don't have lantern, I believe. What else might have lantern? How does one get... Yeah, this is obviously not going to do lantern as well, so, I might have spoke too soon about being able to handle this. Oh, wait. Sigh. That's definitely what we need to add to this to be able to do it, but the only way we're going to be able to pull it off is if I keep it here. If I keep it within this right now, it will stop the timer from going down. So I've got to keep it that for 47 seconds or plus whatever, probably 10 seconds more after that point. Then feed it into... That's not going to work, is it? Because we're going to need, if I'm correct... Ugh, I got arrogant with this. But yeah, edge or moth of 6. Need to put the edge in, then I need to put the dawn in. Yeah, should have looked this one up earlier and done it. I got arrogant. So, yeah, that sucketh. Complication requires 6 moth or 6 edge. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to fail it. We're going to fail it, and then we're going to come back and do it again. Speaking of which, let's put this in here. So we got to basically keep that in the whole time. Ooh, or we could just desperately try again and do it again. I don't think we can actually practically do that. So what we'll do is we'll keep going till we get the dawn again, and then, or another chance for that. Then we'll put the dawn in. will with the caper. Then we can do the other ones as per normal, as I was expecting. Right, warehouse will not do it. Keep going. We'll be fine. Disaster, failed. Failure. Okay, also, trace. We still have the original mission. Sigh, sigh, sigh. This is how things work sometimes. Sometimes you just don't do it quite right. Wolf divided. That's worth quite a bit. We can actually burn down the place, by the way. We're using the wolf divided, and it actually becomes, instead of a regular assault, just everybody goes crazy, because the wolf divided is the spirit of bloodshed. We should probably do this first. Send a message to find out where we're going next. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I mean, the thing we technically didn't fail. We just found out where we need to go. Sigh. And we'll get him to go along, because it's just kind of fun to have people helping out. But yeah, I might actually send Chima to do this. It only requires a 6 edge. It's supposed to be my full. Ah, great. My little friend Lily's operations Kalush have suffered since Hungry gave the city up, but her name might still open doors. So I think we gotta contact Underground when we show up there. Let's get this going. Die. And yeah, we'll keep this going if you just want to burn everything down. We need a connection to radicals first, though. Not impossible. Official connection. Does the official connection have lantern attached to it? Connection ruler. Connection. Holy Man's got lantern. Official's got 6. That will be what we need. We can do it. Alright. Basically got to use up a year. Wow. It's been a while since we had to spend one of those. Other than the one we gave to the... Had to, mind you. I voluntarily gave it to the ruler in Istanbul back there. Probably the governor. Okay, so we'll collect this. And then what we will do is we will try this again. The official connection. This will give us 6. And we'll have this over here to add to it when we get to that lantern part. So we'll begin the caper. Now the first thing we want to do is we want to drop in... Grigori there again, which should be hard to do. Silly me. Grigori will do the first part, Liana the second part, and we'll use the Book of Suns for the third part. Now, technically, we shouldn't be using the Book of Suns, but I'm kind of loose about this. I used the to be able to check things out as we're going along. Oh my God, we got a trace. What shall we do? Sigh. Busy night lies ahead. Illumination. Oh, that's right. We can actually get by with the lantern. So what we're going to do is we're going to toss in somebody who could use the experience. You know what? We'll toss you in. Actually, we can just toss you in. No, wait. We don't get experience with you in this current state. All right. You don't need it. Yeah. I'd say Forge is probably our weakest at the moment. So let's just have her throw on the head. She'll use Illumination. The next one we'll throw in Chana gives us, I think, the 6. Yep, the 6 edged. Well, basically, I could go in and kill things, but she's bored, so we'll do that. Hit it. I know we don't need her to go in there, but the Earth Elemental is bored, and I do not want the Earth Elementals to be bored. It's going to be destructive. I just love how the fact the entire my mission is this time around is just to spend my wealth. And to be completely obscure, apparently. Medical, don't need that, thank you. Alright, so basically we use the official connections to locate this place, because you know what? They pay taxes. If you ever, Liana, go do some murder. Bounce is the solution. Okay. Ever want to find anything out, the best government records are always the tax records, because the government wants to be paid. That's the whole thing about, like I said, it's pretty much protection. Tax is pretty much a protection racket. They call it theft. It's not theft. It's a protection racket. Pay the money and they, don't bother you. Oh, right. So there's our opportunity to burn some things down if we want to. That sounds like fun, actually. So, okay, so we're going to get your great-grandmother out of here. Then, as revenge, we're going to burn the city down. But you'll be coming with us. Don't worry about it. Oh, whoops. Got to make sure we keep this active. So we can do... Alright, let's just calm down here for a second. Pause. Alright then, complication. We're going to need a Christer Twisting Guile lurks here. We'll basically hold out the Holy Book and get it to calm down, because it's literally a patch of primordial void from which all creation was spawning kind of in a bad mood after being imprisoned for centuries. Ooh, this means that his great-grandmother, or his great-grand... His great-grandmother, no, his great-great-grandmother, or his grandmother, I'm not sure exactly. Grandmother was the one who's probably created a ritual like this, which means there's probably a lot more of them out there, depending on how often they do this ritual. Yeesh. Question is, would you accept a half-breed as being somebody who's considered to be human enough to be able to survive in society? Especially if they just found, like, a job and did things. I mean, we have so many heroes that are half gods, half demons, half whatever in our mythologies. Or like with like Geralt from the Witchers, which were essentially created through scientific, because alchemical means, by taking essentially monster DNA. I mean, technically Buffy from Vampire the Manslayer is, if you last season pointed out that she was infused with demon stuff, since in order to get her super strength. Because essentially, alright, there we go, the prize. Essentially, alright, safely away with the haul. Alright, snoozing undergoer. When active, an undergoing is a flexible, half-formed, horribly alluring thing eager to consume or be impregnated by mortals. When its dormant state, it's a friendly knot of tentacle flesh, clawing, dribbling, snoring by turns. Basically, the first one is when you summon a raw prophet and you don't do it right, and it's uncontrolled. That's when you're talking about devouring and consummating and consuming. I've already said how they're linked together, and I'm not going to go further into that, because this is a channel that does not want to be demonetized. I mean, probably already skirting the areas when we're talking about, you know, 1/8 the sex workers who have inhuman heritage. I mean, succubi and incubi kids would probably be all over that. Conditions. All right, so let's see. All right, we've got to. When we're done here, we'll talk to Vasil. We'll get the snoozing undergoer. That'll be interesting at the very least. All right, so basically we came in, leveled the place, and we may burn the whole place down afterwards. Okay, Vasil. Vasil is soft with anticipation. Do we really have to go there? Right. We clasp hands. Your associate is now an ally. Great. Banish her, would you please? Just saying, she'll probably be happier back home in the abyss. There's a sticky crash from the back room to which we consign the undergoer. Vasil rolls his eyes. Family. You know how they can be. Give me half an hour to say goodbye to her properly, and then she'll be fine. Yeesh. No problem. You take your time, and I want absolutely no freaking details. None. None whatsoever. Oh boy. Tilius, we gotta figure out if there's anything else we need to get here. Credentials, profane, mutilated manuscript. May not be able to do that. I've already hacked the game to give me the finished one. So the only thing left to do is burn down the world. Let's do it. Because this is not the conventional uprising. This is going to be everything burns. All right. So grab the radicals. Okay, revolutionaries, other enthusiasts. Give me the Defiance card, give me the Wolf card, and then give me the city. Yeah, I'm going to say, by the way, the reason why it goes kind of crazy is we just unleash his great-grandmother on the city. Basically, she does the whole kaiju thing, and, yeah, that's how it all works. But get the wolf going here. Format chaos for the wolf divided. Caput gerat lupatim. What? Well, why not then? Why do I owe to anyone? What do I owe to anyone after? This will cause suffering destruction. There will be opportunity for profit and be harder for canals. Yep. We're just gonna caput. I've got to do it. I've got to do it. Hang on one second. I mean, we're not in a hurry. Caput gerat. Obviously, the last one means wolf. I remember enough high school Latin for that one. Let him bear the head of a wolf. An outlawed fetting who is considered a pariah or lone wolf, and open to attack by anyone. So essentially, this is us taking revenge in the world. If somebody committed serious crimes for an outlaw, they'd be considered to be a caput gat lupum. So it's an actual term that they used. No one's protected by the someone who's no longer protected by law and hunted down and punished by anyone, which is known today as a stateless person. Which, considering the deportations happening in America and other places, to where the two countries that do not have of their own citizens, that's essentially what's happening. We're essentially declaring people to be stateless and unprotected by the law. So, you know, it's not like the old ways have ever stopped. We just stopped. We just pretended they did. All right, let's get this knocked out. All right, so uprising. We need a total of, just throw the edge in. We're just gonna lead it ourselves, and then we're gonna burn down the world. Watch the world burn. Hey, I like the song, by the way. Running can be problematic, however. Okay, we're gonna lead a revolution. I am super effective. It's not working. Give me this. All right, there you go. So yeah, essentially we've decided that since the world is pretty much fucked us over, we're gonna fuck over the world, and that is a lot of people are like that these days. Oh, sorry, didn't use you for this. Actually, yeah, it's easier for this. Why not? We can just toss people in and give them experience. I'm pretty sure you all be into it, right? There you go. Let's get the. I don't think we're the good guys. This new group of anti-reckoners I'm producing. Reckoners were, after all, lawful evil. We're apparently chaotic neutral. We're just doing it for the fun of it. Alright. Yeah, we're terrible people. There's something here for us anyways. And yeah, this and Stalingrad are the two places that you can do is the chaos, Wolf Divided, to just unleash animalistic uprisings, process climax. Yeah, this. Okay, so what else we want to do here? Yeah, there you go. I'm sure she'd love to get involved in this. Yeah, we're not the good guys. I don't think I've been playing the good guys for a long time. I mean, Gilman technically is good in that he's like a sole force of order trying to protect against a evil witch from sacrificing a child, but not very good at it. He's pretty much just, you know, Lovecraft's author insert, which is sickly academic. Very soon now. Alright, operation complete. Here's the day we've worked for. Subtlety was not my priority. Nope. I've got good value for my years, so I've got to have more money now. Our plans are laid. Today will end in fire. And we have burned it all down, in fact. All of it. Excuse me. A feast of fires. We will know when we know not whom we serve, Julian Causley once said. He was JC. We serve the Wolf Divided, but I know what I was doing. Defiance has been increased. There's no limit to the number of times you can do this. That's right. My defiance is now currently 5, because we went up 2 points. Cunning may answer strength. Strength may answer cunning, but how may answer agony. Essentially, the edge, the defiance is not simply against my father, but against civilization and the continuation of life itself, apparently. We also made $7 from it. Jeez. Do we all have fun? Burning down the... Oh, gods, they're probably really into it. We should probably go now. Syphilis and flames. Revolutions, counter-revolutionaries are fighting street to street. I should leave. Yeah. Alright, have fun, guys. Hope you enjoyed everything. We'll be leaving now. Alright, there we go. And of course, as per usual, let me check to see how long we've been going here. Okay, 18... 28. 2, 8... Yeah, a lot, apparently. So, I guess we'll keep going. I think we've got at least another 20 minutes to go here. Alright, go. Shall we? See you on the other side. And we're back. The regulars of the Cafe Ordea shake their heads sadly when I mention Lily's name. She was not kind, but she was patient, one asserts. Not like this butcher from Vazulio, but you'll need to meet him, I suppose. I'll make introductions. Yeah, this is one of the things about the old school. Give me a second here. The old school underworld, usually, for whatever reason, there seems to be a continuing sort of cycle in which the old school underworld ones, which had basically kept court, were kind of like a inverted aristocracy who controlled the markets, are overthrown by young upstarts that think about nothing more than profit. Now, you could say that about a lot of things. There seems to be a degradation of quality, as it were, in leadership over time, because I think what happens is that some people are born into power and they just, rather than having to earn that power and realizing you have to give and take and have balances and establish rules. Or to do so, the new generation that's born into power just thinks that they deserve it, they should take it, and they're complete monsters until somebody inevitably overturns them and begins the whole cycle again. That is kind of how history works. But on the other hand, there is actually things to do while we're here. First things the first, though, is that let's get our cash back and again get our exit. Then we will begin looking about. Now, I don't need to actually use the connection underworld. Let's see. There's the cash. Let's get our exit, per usual. Hopefully there's somewhere we can go. I think we've got at least one option from here, because we're going to keep running across these bare patches when we run out of connections, just because, you know, that. And eventually we'll run out of cities entirely, and then I'll just have to take whatever ending we have, depending on what we have for comfort or anything else. Kiev. That's actually thought of the hungriest of Ligurians abroad in Kiev. Yeah, my heroes will need to tread carefully there, and so will I. That's going to be one of the Lygians, which is the immortal women who ate their children. We've been over that before. And yeah, we'll send cash ahead. Kiev, of course, is Ukraine. There's much I could say about that, but, you know, most of you probably know what's going on at this point in the time of recording. At least, you know, something's happening there. I have some contacts in the Twitter and other blog spheres that I listen to regarding this, simply because I have an interest in warfare, and, you know, I'm not fond of Russian aggression or imperialist aggression entirely, but gotta say, Russians take it a step further when it comes to brutality. Some of the reports of what they're doing to their own troops is goddamn crazy. Casualties are confirmed, even at the most conservative methods, to be over 7 figures. So that's been 1 million Russians dead. God knows how many Ukrainians and civilians dead. It's usually a pretty good ratio, if that's the sort of thing that you actually think is a good thing, because the Russians are using their standard World War I tactics, where they simply attempt to throw more people at the enemy than they have. The enemy has bullets. Or drones, in this case. I mean, this is the first time we've seen an actual drone, several $1,000 piece of equipment, take out a several $1 million aircraft when in flight. And then there's that little mission they pulled off a few weeks ago after the time of recording, in which they snuck in a whole bunch of... Let's just contemplate the dawn while we're here. A whole bunch of drones hidden within tractor trailers, you know, transport to trucks, and then took out like billions of dollars worth, millions at least, of millions, not billions, of bombers. This doesn't confirm destroyed or disabled or destroyed, which gotta be... War is economic, and yeah, the Ukrainians have learned how to make the enemy suffer, because the Russians do not evolve militarily. Oh my god. How much of this do we have, anyways? They're, like I said, still of the when the Cold War was going on, the Soviets' doctrine was to nuke everything and then send in disposable troops to finish off everything. Nope, that's not kidding. We've seen those files. Human life is not a big thing for them, even their own. I think what it was is that there was one Russian expatriate who has a channel that goes on and on about, you know, the differences between our cultures and why we tend to underestimate them. Give me a moment here. Get Kiev put there. Is we simply don't understand their mentality in many ways. But the Russian believes more in the state than the people. At least the people at top do. Even back in the Tsarist days. They still haven't shook that 19th century mentality of aristocracy, nor the aristocracy its disdain for its people. Which, yeah, we gotta understand, all elites have disdain, apparently, the people they rule. At least that's what's demonstratedly, but, you know, some people can take it to the next level. These smart people will be granted rights under most cultures that prevent revolution, but Russians... Revolutions is a whole long topic on its own. My god, I'm wondering... this one. The problem is that, like I said, without the pressure of the foe trying to kill me, it's just mostly a lot of time. What life is like, I suppose, when you get what you want. Oh, we can have a reclusive villa. Let's do that. I like that. And, well, first of all, let's get this going. Then we'll buy our mansion. There you go. It gives us an incentive not to burn down the place, at least. Which, you know, we have been doing a lot lately. You know, bored immortals. What can you say? Alright, so, and cash ahead, because we're not going to run out anytime soon. We are the 1% at this point. I don't want a ruler. Politicians are bad. God, I might actually be a king at this point in 1925. Let's see what we got here. Nestled in the mountains of the sunset lies the city of the Archangel Michael. I remember it mostly as a place I got drank too much Tusika and got into a fight with bricklayers. We've all been young. Yeah, well, the thing is, you're going to be, like, middle-aged for a very long period of time. Still got one object here I want to purchase so we can get a comfort item and a pentiment, but I've actually counted the... If we want to go for the pentiment ending at this point, and I don't want to spawn any of them with the console, we're going to have to pick up every last one that's available, and that could take a bit. Not like we're in a hurry, but I'm probably going to keep this series going until I see the numbers nosedive, and then move on to the next series. Probably going to be Worshippers of Cthulhu. I don't know. We will see. Life is chaos, especially at the moment. The office. I own a mansion. Yeah, we're buying mansions in multiple places. We are totally the 1%. Probably already complaining about it. People don't work as much as they do in the old days. In my day, your day was 4 centuries ago. In my day, God, imagine, you know how people get older and more conservative? Ah, there it is. Purchase art about finality. Great. This is what people need to invest in art. All right, there you go. That probably all we need. We'll pop over to Kiev, which 1925 still has problems with Soviets. No, they're not the Soviets at this point, I think. Adios and Vale, an oil painting of a city founded in snow. Beyond its bleakest tower, a sickle moon rises. Now, Abydos is actually from multiple sources. There's at least 2 sources in the base game of Cultist Simulator, which mentioned in one book, and it's mentioned in the Ghoul DLC as Abydos, a painting of it, a different painting of it in that gallery there. It is a mythical city that essentially embodies winter because everybody died within it. And it lays within eternal winter, waiting to be revived, or as a part of the underworld, or, you know, pick your legend. But it is also comfort, which means now we have 18 comfort with the mansion. Now remember, we just need to get 20 for the intermediate one. I am willing to try to get to the 30 if we can, but we may not be able to. It takes a lot to do it. And, of course, it's more item. But it's also comfort 1. Like the comfort 1 and... Oh, it's not a pentiment. Oh, I thought it was. Never mind then. Alright, cool. There we go. We have art. We have a mansion to put it in. We're not going to be staying for long. We'll head over to Kiev. Now, Kiev actually does have a pentiment, which is kind of a crazy way of getting it. May cost me a decade. So, yeah. I suppose we should probably be heading over at the moment. I'm going to double check that we haven't got anything else of interest here. In Cluj-Napoca. Let's see. No, I think it's something else. Okay, cool. Let's head out. Yeah, I think we're good there. And we're off. As soon as I step off the train, I smell blood. I turn my head. Nothing, only smoke and sweat. I must have imagined it, but there it again, that red copper. Right then. So, we now have Our Lady of Wires. Now, you may recall, hold on, wherever Our Lady of Wires might be has chosen Kiev for its feeding grounds this year. Yeah. Whew. Just wait a century. Which she can do, as she's an immortal. In fact, she has no she can't die, so I don't think she can be killed because, you know, the curse she has, so I guess she is doing. But of the 7, she kind of got, I think, the hardest deal there with her appearance. She can't even talk. But what we can do with her... Lejane. Like me, Lejanes are criminals and fugitives. Unlike me, they've been cursed eternally because they devour their children's flesh from the womb. Perhaps still we can find some common ground. Well, we have parenting issues, just in the opposite direction. Right. But we're going to do... If I seek out Lejane without bringing a gift, I better hope she's in a good mood. That's just a random chance. But we can do ally, remnant, or associate. Or... Stolen Decade. We will give her the Stolen Decade. Like, okay. And then we're gonna do that in order for a gift. Should be the stained gloves, which are another pentiment. And that will allow us to get closer to that possible runs. Now I'm checking to see medical credentials, profane menacing icon. We can get a menacing icon. Let's do that. Go shopping. Lygia remembers. At an unknown foe's weakness, learn its nature. If you don't, Lygia will give you a gift or eat a reckoner without leaving a trace, although she won't notice the informants and won't go after the foe. Got it. Actually, we can make her go off the foe, but we put the reckoner in there. Get a wound if we do this normally. Doing it this way, yeah, it's kind of counterproductive unless you're going for the gift, which is actually what we are doing. No, I wasn't going to send any to get eaten. I'm not that much of a monster. Faith! Yeah, the number of churches in Kiev is quite impressive, or at least it was once upon a time, as it's a center of Orthodox faith. Russian Orthodox gift from Stained gloves. I think at first they were warm. After a little while I realized they'll always be warm. Essentially being stained forever, but they are a pentiment. Okay. Which gives us... Hold on. Get your arse up there. Pause. Alright, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we kind of cheated for that one. But... Discreet office. We still need to find something there. Alright, go ahead. But yeah. No, also, I should probably figure out where we're going next. Just a little thing. Last space at worship. Yeah, that's hard. It's easy to do. Great. Remember they once had a music video that I think just after the war started. It was well into the western half of the city. And just all of these ancient Orthodox style ones, the onion dome ones, I don't know specifically what they're called, but just everywhere. Old, though. Speaking of atmosphere and history, I mean, gotta give it to the church, whatever else is going to be good at architecture. A lot of people complaining, well, why don't we have cathedrals these days? Because we're not using indentured slavery for a lot of this stuff. We're using actual people that we pay, and a lot of them don't want to spend that much time. I mean, a lot of those were done in times where a lord could just, cash for the holy man. It's pretty obvious the way to do it. Get the cash back. And they just don't want to spend that much time on somebody else's work. Now, this is some people some people say there has to be, as they say, a strict rulership so these sort of wonders can be created, but I don't really care about large stacks of stone as much as I do people. I mean, fine, have your images of these great and grand structures, but in the end, the ruins. I mean, you've got 7,000-year-old temples. Ooh, Stalingrad. The criminal adepts called the Bird Eaters have set their faces against the laws of man and Mansis. I've heard that Zufla the Barber has joined them in Starograd. The Bird Eaters are not good people, but I always like Zufla. I want to know more about this, but this also allows us to burn down another city. Stalingrad's the other place that we do the Wolf Divided, which will bring our defiance even higher, which is always fun. Yeah, also I wouldn't do this to Russia in the real world, because the thing about this is that people, when they first invaded Ukraine, a lot of people were sending back the loot, the soldiers that came in, the conscripts were sending back loot via the package services in Russia, and the package service just stole all the loot. I mean, it's not like you have a receipt for stuff that you took out of somebody's burning house, which you can complain about. Oh, great, radicals. I don't want to burn down Kiev. It's having enough trouble. God, history has not been kind to Ukraine. It's also probably the center of where human civilization started. Literally, yeah, southern Ukraine. Some of the oldest human settlements can be found. Let's see. And it's thought that it's the center of goddess worship as well. Let's see. Kiev, keep going. We'll get there eventually. And sunset should be just about time. So we can have... Okay, cool. I have discovered faith, and now I'm looking at the sunset, and I'm thinking about how peaceful I want my life to be. Peace is good. It can be a bit dull, as, like I said, we're not nearly exciting when it was kill or be killed, but, there's only so long you can do that. that one or the other. I mean, and if you happen to be the one who's not killed, your nerves are going to take a while to settle. Do demigods of war get PTSD? Now there's a big question. I gotta make sure I actually look. Yeah, the menacing icon. I'm gonna see if I can get that. Meanwhile, I'll just keep sending money to Stalingrad. Vitality. There's about, I think, one mission left where we hunt something down. Another one we help Liana hunt it down, I think. Alright, cool. More cash to be sent out? Why, we're still looking for that. Ooh. Don't want to relinquish the cash. Cash is good. You relinquish stuff when you're trying to run away. Really should find out where the heck I'm... Official connection. Come on. Don't tell me the menacing icon's already been lost. That would suck it. I don't think the menacing icon actually is going to give me a comfort. Obviously, it's menacing, not comforting. Let's see. Bohemian State. Yeah, actually, we're not going to get it because this is one of the ones that we, So it also... So we should probably just leave. And I'll probably just... We'll call it an episode at that point. Just because. Alright then. Alright, so we'll be heading to Stalingrad next. It's nice to stop by, do a little shopping here. Probably got the stained gloves. Which I believe the reason why is that blood never actually congeals. It's literally as a worm as the moment when whatever these things are on it was killed, so it absorbs some of the heart power, or the grail power, I guess. This game sometimes. Yep, apparently Stalingrad's remote. Okay, that's a comment. And we are off. I'll put us where we alive at Stalingrad, and then I'll probably end the episode. Hang on. And here we go. And although the darkness... Okay, because of the darkness into New Day, I've gone far enough the Reckoners will have to look harder than usual, unless they're already here. Yep, this one you get with the remote zones. So Stalingrad's considered remote. The bird eater's lair in a burnt-out church. I'm sure I see a great serpent shining like a wet leather slither away through the rubble as I approach, but Zufila and the others insist it was nothing. Yeah... This is actually a new caper. We actually haven't tackled this. I don't know if we've actually been to Stalingrad before. Okay, they also got, apparently, that. Okay. Right, Zulfa the barber. Zulfa never goes anywhere without her scissors. She's also shaved, and she's also chaos cultist. Not quite the same as in 40k, mind you, but she's still a cultist. So, we will be tackling her caper when we come to the next episode, and it will be, like I say, a new one, at least something new. We're going to be hanging out with Slavic witches, which have their own brand of magic, which is quite interesting. It's much different than the Western revivalists, because there's never really been a change in tradition. They've been kept going. In fact, I once communicated with a singer who was a young initiate of their one of their witchy traditions. That was interesting. I haven't really thought about her much, but she incorporated a lot of dark goddess imagery into her work. I don't remember which one she is. I'll probably look it up and cover the next episode if you're interested. Let me know in the comments if you actually want to track that one down. But doubt she remembers me. It was years ago. But yeah. Anyways, this is Fantastic World. Thank you for Lovecraft Country and our victory lap around magical Europe 1925 in Cultist Simulator Exiles. I hope you've enjoyed yourself, and we will see you next time. Like, share, subscribe as per usual. I want to do more. You can become a supporter. Links in the comment down below, in the description down below, and you can get access to additional material, which we have both Baldur's Gate 1, a retrospective, and we have Marvel Midnight Suns, which it's an interesting game involving us controlling the occult heroes of the Marvel Universe. Hey, it's not like the films. I actually think it's kind of fun. It draws on a lot of the old history, and I was there for some of that. Anyways, I will see you next time. I'd like to thank my Acolyte level supporters, whose contributions help this channel grow and hastens the inevitable digital apocalypse and rise of the Dark Lords of content and data.